This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, maybe let's wait for a minute and then we'll start the session for today. So this is the third day, I think it's the fourth day of the session. Yeah. So first day we won't take it. So it's usually a demo, just going through and walking through the syllabus and stuff. So this is the fourth day. Yep. So let's wait for a minute and then let's start it up. And welcome back to the session as well. Yeah. Hello all. So welcome back to the session. So let's start the session for today. So let me share my screen. No, sorry. Okay, I hope my screen is visible and my voice is audible. Kindly let me know if anyone is having any distortions or background noise or any sort of distractions. So I can help it out. Just a minute. Hey, Kadav Satra. Okay, so let's start the session. So I hope my screen is visible. So maybe let's get started for today. Okay, so I hope you went through the yesterday's session. You got your what to say? Uh, you got the link actually. Sorry, I didn't go through the doubts ADB because like just yesterday. Yep, yeah, this one restarted. Yeah, that's fine. So I hope you got the link for the recorded videos. So I hope that is really helpful. So let's start it over today for now. So let's get back to our
Hi, Arvind.
slides. Yes. Hello. Yes,
One
please.
quick question.
Yeah.
Um, and when we download that Android Studio, right? Every
hmm
time we shut down, it's going reinstalling every time. Is there any way we can save that app in software?
Okay. It's always reinstalling, you mean? Okay. So I
Yeah.
think like it is due to the admin rights that you have, I guess, actually. So that should be the possible issue. So maybe like again, we'll see this installation further when we are deep into the class, actually. So at that time, we'll have a look at it. So individual attentions will be given. So don't worry about it, actually. So since it's a demo session, just wanted to show you a practical experience how it looks like. So most probably it should be the issue should be like say you're not an admin to your user that you have logged in. Maybe it might be a Windows machine or a Mac machine. So that must be the reason like you're not able to open it again second time. So correct me if
Okay.
I'm wrong, like first time when you install it should be fine, and the second time it's uninstalled or there is some other notification, I would suppose, if I remember it. Is it like
Mm,
that?
no, it's I mean to say it's uninstalling and installing, but when it
Mhm,
loads it, my
mhm.
what is that Pixel A, that virtual device is available, still available, but it's reinstalling every time when I restart my computer.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, don't worry. So we'll address those issues. Yeah, shouldn't be a
Yeah,
problem.
thank you.
So it should be a slight glitch only. So nothing much it should be. So that's the problem. APM Studio is hanging my system. So APM Studio, do you mean Android Studio, Anu? We didn't see anything related to APM Studio right now. But do you mean by Android Studio? Yeah, yeah, actually, yes. So that requires a lot of memory. So maybe Anu, like you're using something related to a Windows machine or a Mac machine, maybe? A Windows. Okay, so may I know the RAM size actually? So it should be somewhere around like 8 GB, I guess, actually. And your hard disk size may be little lesser. So that's the reason it might be hanging. So try to clear it up actually and try to use it. So yeah, so most probably don't try to open the APM Studio, sorry, the Android Studio, I would say. So let's have a different approach when we get into the deeper sessions. Yeah. I'll show you like that one. So okay, so just download the SDK for SDK using the Android Studio, and let's have a different approach on handling the emulators. I'll tell you how is it. Okay, so there are like basically different ways to handle the emulator. You can even open it from the command line. Okay, so that's one of the easiest way. So I'll show you that one once we get into the deeper to the session. Yeah, just an heads up. So yeah, we'll address that one. Yeah, don't worry. So since we are in just the preliminary stages, so I didn't take anything deep into it. So just gave you a heads up like how it will be handled from the Android perspective. So iOS perspective, like it will be like little the installation will be easy, but the thing is like say iOS itself is a very complex architecture. So that's the problem actually. So we will see, we will address those. I'll make you easier, okay, handling those items much easier. So don't worry about it. Yeah. So just follow the steps and it should be able to, we should be able to get through it. And yeah, so there are some step-by-step process, procedures, and screenshots and documentations which will guide you throughout the process. So it should be easy. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that answers. So any more doubt like before we move on to the next steps in our session? Okay, so
Yes.
don't worry whoever missed yesterday's session or didn't follow yesterday's session. So anyhow, the same thing will be repeated again. Don't worry, because yesterday was just to show you how an APM will be working from the architecture perspective. So that's why I happen to install these things and stuffs. Voice is breaking. Okay, so is it for everyone? My voice is breaking, or like how is it? Maybe can someone confirm? Okay, so if it is breaking for everyone, let me know. I can just try reconnecting my headset back. Okay, fine for you. Okay, for me it sounds like that. Okay, maybe they were just. Can you try reconnecting actually? So maybe it might be an internet issue. So not sure. So just try to reconnect it. I think should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay, so let's start in for today. So today's session we'll see it's the fourth day of our demo session. So most probably like we will just a minute. Oh, okay. So most probably like we'll focus on some theoretical parts and some automation stuffs as well. And again, like say installation part, let's keep it aside for now. Okay, since it's like a beginning part of our session, so just to make you some involvement into the session, just yesterday I had that kind of an interactive session. So most probably, like, we will again see those installation, the Android and the Android installation, Android setup, everything. We'll see that again as well. So don't worry about it. So again, those are in the pipeline. When we jump into the APM part completely, we'll have those sessions. Okay, so now let's today focus into like more into like say of an automation. So why and how is the automation is done and all those things actually. So yep, just give me a moment. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, so today what we are going to see about is like say the architecture part. So how does it work? APM architecture. So and then like say how important is mobile automation. Okay, so how important is mobile automation to us actually, and and most probably like we'll also check in about some of the Mac uh, Mac OS commands and few of those stuffs actually. So Mac OS and ADB commands, just an introduction actually. So in depth we'll be seeing it up introduction to Mac OS and ADB commands. So these are like pretty easy things actually. So technically, like say if you are well aware of it, it makes your works much more easier. So let's start off with these stuffs for today, and then slowly we'll migrate towards Java part. Okay. So the core concepts, I would say the core concepts of Java. So before we move on this one, so let me check. Like say, how many of you are like what are the programming languages that you guys know about it? Can you just ping it in the chat maybe? A quick 10 seconds. So which programming language you know? If you don't know, no issues. Just type not applicable or something. So that I can take it on that. C sharp. Yeah, that's great. Java. Oh, Java is quite popular. I can see it up. Yeah, that's good to know. C sharp. Yeah. JavaScript. Okay. It's quite good. Okay. So any more people? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that. So most probably people are well aware of Java, but since like, does anyone don't know any programming language? Maybe if I miss something it out. Okay, so most probably everyone is aware of some programming language. So no problem. So no issues. Like we'll just have a brush up of Java. So we'll just have a quick brush up of let's have like 4 to 5 sessions, and then we'll move ahead actually, because technically this is an end-to-end course inside APM. So we have some core concepts inside in it, which includes your Java concepts as well. So most probably you might have went through it up the course things over here. So we have some core concepts. So let's see all these core concepts quite fast, I would tell, since most of you are aware about it. So it might be what is it? It might be a refresh for you as well. So let's see that as well. And then again, we will see the APM installation and setup. Okay. So that's again the same agenda. We have it up. Yesterday we saw a glimpse of it, but this will be a full-fledged session, I would tell. Okay. So setting it up in each machines and all those things actually, because it requires some patience. So there we can have much more hands-on and more insights into it, like handling and troubleshooting it up actually. So those things we can handle it over here. So I would request you to be a little more patient. Okay, so that will really be helpful. And Yeah, and then we'll write the first code, we'll try to have the gestures handling, all those things we'll be doing it up step by step, and some iOS specific features also is available, and framework handling and BDD concepts, as well as the design pattern concepts and build integration in Jenkins. So we'll have all these things as well. Okay, so let be a little bit patient so that you can get most out of it. Okay, so that's the thing I would tell you, because yesterday it was a slight glimpse, like say how the coding will be existing. So it's not a full-fledged thing. Okay, so now let us see, like say how it can be done. Okay, so far any doubts or something like that over here? Anything to clarify? Any topics you want to add it out? I hope you might have seen the syllabus, but in case, like say I any other topics needs to handle, kindly let me know so we can customize it according to your needs. Okay, just ping the syllabus uh, for your reference, so it's totally customizable, I would tell. But these are the generic topics that we'll be seeing it as an end-to-end mobile automation test. Okay, so you need to do the setup till the CI/CD, so and then you're become a full-fledged automation tester. So kindly let me know in case if you have any specific apps or something that needs to be handled. So individually we'll be handling it as well, and also like say any issues in the installations that will be handled on the upcoming days actually. So once we get full-fledged into the Appium, we'll be handling it. So till then, like say you can just wait a bit, because we are in the starting stage, so we are not yet into the full-fledged course. We are just in the demos course here, demo courses, okay, sessions. So just to make you more comfortable, okay, and then to move on. Yeah, okay, so let's get started. So let's open my PPT. So let's go through the PPT first, and then let's have something. So most probably all the PPTs we have went through it for the day 1 and 2. So now coming to the architecture part actually. So this was a hot topic. Like in any interviews, if you go, like some people or geeks or nerds will be asking you, like say, what is the architecture in which the APM works. So far, like whatever we have seen yesterday, so maybe someone can just ping in and tell, like say, how does an APM works. Okay, so yesterday, like say if you have seen it, like we have automated one script and we try to run it one sample code. So from that, like what you can infer it. Okay, so just let me know what you can infer it. For example, maybe let's take some 10 seconds or 20 seconds for that. Maybe anyone, any volunteers maybe.
Sir, what is your question? Can you repeat?
Yeah, from yesterday's session, right? We just ran a script and then we saw the APM running, we saw the device running and those things. So from that, what can you infer it? So like say, can you just tell, like say, what is the flow in which it works? So any idea like how did it work yesterday by any chance? Did anyone work out?
Not completely, but I think when we
Mm-hmm,
start APM, that start a server, when we execute code that gets converted into some understandable format like JSON
mm-hmm,
or
mm-hmm,
mobile JSON type format, then it's uh, means it's communicate through that server through ADB languages and ADB commands, and after that, means
mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's the gist about it actually. So that's what I was expecting. So technically what happens over there is like whenever you start your APM. So yesterday what we did, like say we tried to start our APM. So not a big one, I would say. So just you can go to the terminal. Okay, and then usually what we do, so we just gave like APM and then it started, right? So if this starts, that means you have installed correctly, so nothing, no issues. And then whatever we ran it from the code, IntelliJ for example, this had some implications over here. Okay, so those implications are nothing but the way of interaction it does. So that's what we are telling it as an architecture, how it works. So basically we have like three sets or three things that needs to be done. So which is your APM server, APM client, that's what we did. APM server is the terminal in which you start. APM client is nothing but the code that you run it up, and then the device or simulator is nothing but the instrument in which it runs. So these three needs to be taken to consideration when you take it into your APM architecture. I wouldn't say it as an iOS, so just let's have it as an APM architecture. Okay, and then how does it work? So APM server is nothing but it facilitates the communication between the client and the mobile device. It translates the command and executes them. So that's the process of your APM. So APM forms as a bridge between your what to say? It forms a bridge between your code and your device. So whatever you send from the code, it translates to the server, and from the server, it translates to your device. So when it translates to your device, that's where, like, say, we have two different things. Okay, APM server. When it translates to your device, that's where you have two types actually existing. So one is your Android, another one is your iOS. So Android, another one is your iOS. For Android, technically, for
Again.
yes, yeah, is there something? Sorry. Yeah. So those who are not speaking, kindly I would request to go on mute so that others are not distracted. Sorry to it, but unfortunately we are a group of people, so yeah, that's the reason. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for understanding. Okay, so APM server, like say when it tries to interact, it has like two different things. So one is the main platform, two main platforms. We have it as an Android and your iOS. So these two platforms, like we can make use of it. So how, or like say, how does your platform make use of your Android server? Sorry, the APM server. So how does it make use of it? So technically your Android uses something called your APM settings, I would tell. Okay, and your WebDriver is using something called your WebDriver agent. Okay, so APM settings or WebDriver agent is nothing but it's a middle layer, I would tell. Okay, so your APM settings or your WebDriver agent is nothing but these are the middle layers which can help to the interaction between the perform the interaction between the server and the device technically. So this is how it will be used to do it up. Okay, so for any device, when you try to run your APM server, this APM settings and this WebDriver agent, so technically it will be installed on your device. So whenever it installs, so and also like there is one more thing actually, I forgot to mention that. So when it tries to install it, like if you see your APM settings, okay, so your APM settings will be installed, like say on a Android real device. Okay, so and you can ask me a question in emulator will not be installed. Emulator does not require this because by default it's from your Android studio, so it should be available. Okay, so only an Android real device has the APM settings. The APM settings. So your emulator doesn't have it. So you can remove the emulator, I would tell. Okay, so these are the points that you need to remember, I would say. And from the iOS perspective, so technically it's going to be your WebDriver agent. Okay, so this WebDriver agent, it's common to both simulator and your real device, so it doesn't care. So your WebDriver agent needs to be available to interact between your real device and your Appium server, and this needs to be handled at both the levels, both simulator and your real device. Now, how does your Appium settings or your WebDriver agent looks like? So let me connect a device and show it to you. So whenever you connect it, so technically it should be available. So to show it, to display it to you, so technically, so let me use an Android Studio. Okay, so whenever you run it on a real device, you can see it up, but that we'll cover further in the sessions in the upcoming days because it's too early over here right now. So I've connected my device. Let me see. Yep. So here you can see there is something called your APM setting. So this is how it looks like when you do open it. So it doesn't open inside your real device. It's just an icon or an agent that is existing. And inside your iOS, how does it work technically? Okay, so let me show it to you. So installing the simulators, everything I'll come to it, but just an introduction. So that's why just focusing more into that one. Okay, but how to install it and stuff, I'll show it to you. So this is a simulator. Let me try to open a simulator and let's see. Okay, let's have it as a 16 Pro. So this is the one. Okay, so let's try to open it up. And again, like say, as you remember, like let me put the question to you. Can an iOS be available on a Windows by any chance? Can you start your iOS on a device at any chance? Geeta, okay, so what is it? Code APM ADB devices. Please share these docs for reference. Definitely, I'll share it up. Okay, so what is it actually? Code APM devices. So from where did you get it actually, Geeta?
No, I mean, when you asked about the architecture, I just
Okay,
answered that.
architecture.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, yep, sorry. So I just saw it in the wrong time. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, okay. So technically, okay, so it's not starting it. Okay, I think there is some problem with my simulator, so I need to restart it. So we'll put this aside for now, actually. But how does it exist? Let me show it to you as a WebDriver agent image from the internet. So it looks like the same way. Okay. So okay, this is the one. Okay, so if you closely look at it, this is how it looks like. Okay, technically this is how it looks like. So your your iOS simulator or a real device will have like this. With this only the interaction happens between your real device or a simulator with your APM. So that's how basically it is there. And the APM client, as you know, it's nothing but the
So,
coding that you're going to write about. Yeah, yes, please. Hello.
yeah, so I was asking this Android setting and WebDriver agent, these both are APM server on the device.
I wouldn't say it as an APM server. It's like an agent which interacts with the APM server.
So it's different from the APM server. APM server is what we
Yes,
are starting in our
starting it
system.
system exactly. Yeah. So these things, like say APM settings or your what to say your iOS WebDriver agent is nothing but the agent that is used to interact with the APM server. So so with so with not be connected to the APM server in case your device will not be recognized by the server. So this is like a what to say the middleware which communicates between the server and your device. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So this
because
is a kind of a app or something means because it was in the image it was just looking like an
yeah, it's
icon
kind
of
of
an.
an app. Exactly, it's kind of an app actually. It's kind of an
Okay.
app. Yeah, so let me start this device. I think this I've already installed, so I'll show it
Uh,
to you as well. Yeah, yes, please go ahead.
and
Yeah.
and these settings Arvind is installed for on for the first time when we run Appium server on our real devices, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So the first time when you run, it will be installed, but you can uninstall it. So as and when you try to run the script on the device, it will be keep on installing it back.
Right.
So it's like say what to say, it's like it will not leave the device alone. Yeah. Okay, got it. So technically, yeah, so technically what happens is like say even if you try to uninstall the Appium settings or WebDriver agent from the device, okay, the moment you tell the Appium this is the device that you are going to interact, it will reinstall a fresh app of Appium settings or WebDriver agent. Okay, it will reinstall it as a fresh. So there is no escaping from that. It's kind of a zombie. It attacks every time whenever you mention the device name to it. Okay, so another quick question. So from the recap of the previous sessions, so how do you identify the device name of a Android? Okay, maybe Android only we have seen, so that's why I'm specific. How do you tell like say what is the device name of an emulator, or like say to be more straightforward, what is the command that you provided? Yeah, ADB device. Yes, add an S towards it, and that's fine. Yes. So usually it's like this. Okay, ADB devices. Okay, add an S towards it, and that's fine. So the question was like say how do you identify the devices through command prompt? Okay, ADB devices. So now no devices are available, so it doesn't connect it. So whatever device I connected, I just removed it. Thanks for that. I would say yeah. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so technically, so and the architecture, let's come back to the architecture part, how it's going to be handled. So we know now three things are mandatory. One is your Appium server, one is your Appium client, and one is your mobile device. And how does it interact technically? So this is how it interacts. Okay, force quit. Let me do these things just a moment. Sometimes my machine hangs up. It's pretty unrealistic to see, but sometimes it does. Yeah. Okay. So if you see it over here, let me blow up the picture over here. So how does the interaction happens? Let me open it. How to blow it up a bit. Okay. Let me zoom in a bit. So I hope it's visible. So in case if it's not visible, do let me know. Okay. So as you can see it, so this is a small representation. How does it work actually? So I'll show it in the diagram as well. So no issues. So technically what happens is like say uh, your WebDriver agent. So that's what is available over here. You can see my mouse. That's what it is available. So this is developed by Facebook. So that's why you see a Facebook icon over here. And technically it handles all the iOS based items. Okay, so your WebDriver is specifically for your iOS that will be handled. And similar to iOS, we also have something called your WebDriver agent. So WebDriver agent is developed by its own Google, so it doesn't affiliate to anyone. So it's specifically for any Android device you connect, so it's going to be your WebDriver agent. So how to understand this particular item is like, so all the device agents will be available over here. So this is your code. So you put your code, and that server is available. Appium server is available. It converts the Appium server converts the code to different languages. So if it is going to be like say your iOS, it goes to your XUI test. If it is going to be your Android, it goes to your Appium service for Android, and then it goes over there separately. So there are two different things I would tell. Okay, so if I want to tell it up in a diagrammatical way, so let me show it to you. Let me put it over here in the Word. Oh, what happened? I think the simulator is the problem. It's consuming too much. Okay, no problem. Okay, so how do you do it actually? Oh, please, what is it? Source quit. Okay, I'll show you in the upcoming session actually the simulator. So today it's giving me a lot of trouble. Okay, so let me see what is happening actually. Just give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment. Okay, no problem. Sorry about it. Just had to check it out because before my system crashes. Okay, so this is about it. So let's see how does it work actually, your WebDriver agent. So that also we have some step-by-step slides. Let me explain it to you. So if it is going to be an Android, so basically the client library, it's 9.x.x. That yesterday we had the dependency, and it's usually transmits the call. Actually, whatever the code that is being sent, it transmits as a mobile JSON wire protocol to your Appium server, and from the Appium server it transmits to your device. So how does it handle inside a device is like, say we have a bootstrap jar file inside the Android that converts whatever the command that you're entering it, or the code that you're entering it, it will be converted to your Android readable format. That's the reason this conversion happens inside a bootstrap, and who converts this is nothing but your Android automator. So Android, sorry, UI Automator. So have you heard about this UI Automator before? So anyone from the group? So have you tried to install this somewhere?
I used it before.
Yes. So where we used it basically. So again, I'll go back to the terminal. So let me clear it. And when we try to use APM driver list, so there you might have seen it actually, your UI Automator. Okay, so this UI automator, that's the reason we installed it. Okay, so this UI automator will be helpful for you to communicate. Okay, so without this UI automator, your communication doesn't happen to your Android device. So UI automator sends command to the device, and the device sends the command back to the sends back to APM server. Okay, and the APM server sends back to the client. So this is how basically the interaction happens. Okay, so any doubts here? So if in your interview by any chance if someone asks you what is the role of your UI automator, so they won't mention the version 1 or 2, but technically that's like the 2 version that is existing. If someone asks you what is the role of a UI automator, and this is the role of the UI automator. So it's available inside your Android device as a inside a bootstrap jar file, and it tries to convert all the commands to your Android readable format. Okay.
Sorry, you opened. Can you show me the UI automator once? You opened the
I
command prompt.
command prompt, you mean that? Okay. So this is the one. Okay, whatever I'm highlighting. So that's why, like say, when you are trying to install it on a Windows machine, that's why I requested. So Windows people just try to install only the UI Automator 2, so that the rest of it should be fine. Yeah, because like the Windows people can also access the iOS, but through the cloud environment. But these plugins are not required for interacting with the cloud environment. Okay, there is some free versions also, but it's limited to a month or time actually, which we can handle it at later point of time. Okay, so in the upcoming sessions, okay, so we'll be seeing that one maybe around next week or something. Again, we will revisit the topic of installation. So at that time, like say, we all can install it, troubleshoot it, and get ready for our new journey. Okay, so any doubts here so far till now? How does it work?
Yeah, Arvind, just you mentioned here that UI Automator
Hmm.
in Android. So basically, this means it is an Android device.
Yes, it's going to be an Android device or an emulator. So if it's an emulator, by default it will be installed, so you don't need to do anything. Okay, so because the Android Studio recognizes it, and by default it starts an emulator with all these things. But in a real device, these things will automatically install, but don't panic for it. Okay, because it's a normal
This
one.
is this
Mhm.
is same as that APM setting, or this is
Uh, yeah, this terminal is same as that of APM setting. Okay, when we try to install, but this UI Automator is something like say, after you install the UI Automator 2 only, you can interact with your Android device. So in case like if you don't install your UI Automator 2, when you try to interact with a real device or your emulator, it doesn't happen. It will throw you an error.
I'm little bit confused here because
Uh,
as you have shown the list there, so UI Automator is basically in my Windows machine or it is in
okay.
my Android device.
It will be on your Windows machine, but that will communicate with your device.
Okay,
That
so
is
you
that is used to communicate with your device.
okay, but in slide it's mentioned that it's in Android, so I was just getting confused.
Okay. It's converts to an understandable format as a UI automator. Okay, so the UI automator doesn't exist in Android, but an Android device internally, if you see the core part of the Android, right? So what you call it as a SDK, software development. So that has a bootstrap jar file, which time and again checks for the UI automator to interact. So you can see UI Automator sends command to the device. So it's not existing in the device. It sends the command to the Android device, and your Android device has a APM setting, and that will capture or that will read that signal, and then it will perform the action.
Okay, okay. So basically, it's in you can say that the server that we are running.
Running, yes. So how to do it as a flowable chart is like say you have your APM client. So whenever I mention APM client, so that means the code. Okay, so that code will be available. So that code will be sent to your APM server. Okay, and from the server it checks, or like say the server has something like say an UI automator. Okay, UI automator, it checks in the device connected whether it has something called a APM settings. If the APM settings is available, then the device interaction starts. And when I say the UI automator altogether, this UI automator and this APM settings altogether, if you see it, so these are running on the background. Okay, so this will be installed on your client machine. Okay, that means your machine. So UI automator will be existing on your machine, APM settings will be existing on the device. So these two will try to establish a connection. If they establish a connection, then the device is connected. In case if they fail to establish a connection due to various reasons like Wi-Fi connection or device or like say the software version conflict, so that may also be an issue. So if they do like that, then the connection will not be established. It will show like say APM session failed to create. Okay, so just to brief about it, these two items. sorry, these two items will be available in the background. Okay, and your UI automator, this will be installed in the machine. So whether it's your Windows or your Mac, anything. Okay, whatever it might be there. Okay, whatever it might be there. And then your Appium settings will be available in the device. Okay, so this is how it mentions. So how it will be available on the device? So usually the Appium client, we will mention which device to connect, and from that device it will know, like say, which device to connect. So it might be a serial number or the name of the device. So from there it will check inside the you it will check using the it will check using the UI automator. It will check using the UI automator. Okay, which device is having the device ID, and there it will install, and there it will install the Appium settings, and with that Appium settings it will start the interactions. Okay, fine, right? So this is how step by step it works. So basically it will mention the device to connect. It will check using the UI automator which devices it will check using the UI automator which device is having the device ID, and once it identifies the device ID, there it will install the Appium settings and it will start the interaction. Okay, so is it clear? Maybe this is how the step by step it works. Okay, so anything so far till now? Is it clear? Quite clear? Okay, and if someone asks you, like say, how your code is sent to your Appium server, so it happens through your mobile JSON wire protocol. So this is the transmission type, I would say. Okay, so it will be like say a little confusing, but as and when you try to run the script right in the upcoming sessions, so you will be well aware like how it works. Okay, but is this part clear till now?
Yeah, just a small doubt here.
Uh-huh.
As you mentioned here that can we
Mhm.
go back to the slide?
Okay.
Yeah, so the code is sent via mobile JSON wire protocol. So
Yeah.
does it means UI automator convert this in this format, or is it something different?
Uh yes, exactly. Technically, yes.
Okay.
Technically, yes. Yes. Your UI automator will convert the code to a JSON format, that means a mobile JSON wire format, and send it to a device. And the device should have the Appium settings in order to read these commands.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So the same process only is going to be repeated for your iOS, but in place of Appium settings, we are going to have your WebDriver agent tab. That's pretty much. Okay. And in place of Android Studio to install the SDK, we have your Xcode. Okay. Okay. XUI test or your Xcode. So now Appium settings, it's quite simple, quite easy. So nothing much actually to do it. But when it comes to your Xcode or XEUI test, so what is it basically? Okay, so let's see what does it do actually. So technically, so the process and operation is going to be the same for your iOS, but what does an XEUI test specifically is going to do? So this is with respect to your This is with respect to our iOS. Okay, so as a Windows user also, you might see like, say, I'm not able to install iOS, why should I be worried about it? So technically you also need to be worried about this, because anyhow you're going to connect to a cloud machine, and through the cloud machine, through a iOS device, so you need to have some insights like how it works, because there also the WebDriver agent is going to be there, and that's going to helpful for you to run your use case. Okay, so, and how does this one will work is like, say, so your XUI test, it's used for your iOS specifically, and it is used to automate the UI tests, okay, in a iOS device. So I'm consistently mentioning iOS device. Don't try it on your Android, so it will not be available. Okay, so Appium uses this XCUI test to generate the WebDriver agent. So it is used to generate the WebDriver agent. So this bridges the gap between your device, your Appium, your XUI test, and the commands that used to be executed on your iOS. Okay. So XUI test is a particular framework specially built for your iOS, and the usage in Appium. So basically it depends, or it creates the WebDriver agent. Okay, so this XCUI test is the one that builds the WebDriver agent. So without this XUI test, your WebDriver agent will not be built. So in any of these scenarios, you need to have your XUI test. So that's the reason I'm focusing more into it. So you need to know the basics. So then only, like, say, like most probably some product based companies, they have this as a major background in your interview, like asking you to explain how does it work and how does it work, how does it is done and stuff. So you need to be more aware of these things. Okay, just a minute. Oh, what is this? Okay, so this is how it is. And the requirements of to install your, so these are the prerequisites or the requirements, I would tell. Okay, so we'll see this in detail, don't worry about it. So whoever has a Mac machine, definitely we can do this one actually. So it's a little time consuming, but a very easy process, I would tell. Okay, Mac OS with Xcode, we need to install it. And then once you install your Xcode, we'll be having some later called your X simulator. Okay, so that needs to be available. And to both of these things, you need to do a sign in to create a developer account. Okay, to access the latest iOS softwares. Okay, we need to have this access. Okay, so and what is the limitation of this XUI test? Let me tell you. So the limitations, so technically it cannot directly automate system apps or cross app interaction due to Apple's restriction. Okay, and again, like, say, it requires a manual setup. Okay, each component requires a manual setup. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, so these are the limitations. Okay, so these things I'll show it to you in the upcoming sessions. Okay, because it's quite a big task actually. It might take one session or two or three actually, depending upon how we are understanding it. So I don't rush it a bit, so that's why I take some time for the initial setups actually. So dedicated times will be given, dedicated slots, individual attentions also will be given, because it's like a basic thing, because when you go to an industry, so you will not be given any guidance. You will just be given, like, say, please install it and give it to me, and that's it. Because I faced this issue a lot of times. So you need to have it, you need to do it as a individual contributor kind of thing. Okay, so that's the reason installations are given, like, say, more time. So a lot of people ask me in the session why we are doing the installation again and again and so much time. So technically, like, say, you need to be in a position to troubleshoot it, you need to be in a position to see the issues beforehand and then address it up. So that's the reason, like, say, I give more time for the setup, because for you to play around and then get messed up with the system, and then we can try to reinstall and figure it up, or troubleshoot it and figure it up. So there are different approaches available. Okay, so that's the reason, like, say, installation in Appium specifically is considered very important. So, and it's a step-by-step process. Okay, so, and how the Appium works with iOS, it's the same thing. Appium uses your Apple's native XUI test API to interact with the UI components of application under test, and whatever is there, it converts to a REST API, and the same mobile JSON wire protocol is used. Okay, and once you send it out, the same way the action happens. Okay, so let me explain it. So this remains the same. Okay, you're going to write the code, so that's how the workflow usually starts over here. So it will check for the XEUI, XEUI test that is installed. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so this is how it will be. It will check for the XUI test that is installed, and once it installs, so it will again check the same thing for the device ID, whether you have mentioned it or not. So in iOS specifically, we don't have a device ID. We technically call it as a UDID. Okay, uniform device identifier. So I would tell it up. Okay, so uniform device identifier, and the same thing, it will install this XUI test, will install your uh, WebDriver agent. WebDriver agent. WebDriver agent. Okay, and this WebDriver agent will is going to establish the connection, or it will start the interaction. So it's going to be technically the same, but few terms and jargons are different. Okay, so this is the architecture of it. Okay, so any doubts still here so far? So any doubts still here so far? Okay, so if there is no doubts, we are able to cover this one only. So commands, we'll cover it up later on the Monday session, because still we have time actually. So that till that you can go through it. And how important is your mobile automation, we'll come to that at the later point in the session actually. Okay, so far, like, this is how it is done. Okay, so this is the importance of your mobile automation. We'll check this slide later on Monday, and then we'll proceed with the ADB commands and your other iOS based commands as well. Okay, so till then, like, say, any doubts, we can have the Q&A session. So any
Sir,
concerns? Yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
in the code you have mentioned .apk, where I need to download that file, sir. So you have provided,
Uh,
yeah.
.apk file, don't worry about it. So .apk is an extension that is given. Okay, so .apk is an extension that is given to a mobile application. Okay, so I'll come to that at later point. Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, there is nothing needs to be downloaded. So for now, like say that APK, why I told you is like say to differentiate between the apps between an iOS and your Android. Okay, so to differentiate between the apps between your Android and your iOS. So if it is going to be an iOS app, so your extension is going to be IPA. Okay, so let me tell you. So .apk is an extension for Android apps. Okay, and the .ipa is an extension for iOS apps, and .zip file is an extension for iOS apps in simulator specific. So this is applicable for real device as well as emulator. Okay, just to know a gist of it for you. Okay, but these things will be it's just an introduction, but these things will be extensively covered in the upcoming sessions. Okay, is it clear?
Sir, but if I want to run the test, I just want to try once. But how do I?
Okay, if you want to run the test, then what you can do it is like uh, let me go to my repo. So this is my repository. So just in case Appium code sample. Oh, sorry, not this one. Yeah. So you can use this one, this repository. Okay, you can just go to code and download the zip file and extract it, and you have a APK file. Okay, so this file you can run it up, no issues. Let me ping this repo in our chat. Okay, so do we have class on Saturday and Sunday? So unfortunately, no Sanjeev. So it's basically a weekday session. So Monday to Friday we'll be having it actually from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So Saturday, Sunday is an off actually for us for our batch. So we don't have any sessions. But Saturday and Sunday, in case of any major doubts or something, like we can connect it. Any installation issues or anything related to the code, we can book a slot and then we can confirm it, and then we can have some sessions. Yeah, that's also available. But that's post your enrollment into the session. Yeah.
Arvind, I just wanted to know that,
Hmm.
like Selenium, we have an alternate options like Playwright and Cypress,
Yeah.
right? Do we have any competitor for Appium also? Because
Hmm.
major companies are shifting from Selenium to Playwright
To
or
play right. Yeah. Yes.
something.
Actually, for now, APM, they have competitors actually. I think in one of the sessions I told, I think, but I think I didn't tell
Mentioning
it
for
up.
specifically for iOS
Yeah.
or Android.
Yeah, both actually. So there are some competitors actually, but their competition is very lean, I would tell actually. So if you see the graph of APM download and then to the other competitors, for example, Ranorex or Tosca or anything, you can take it up. So technically, they are all like license based commercial tools. So they are not open source tools. So that's one of the disadvantage they have. But APM, since it's built Selenium as a background, and then from on top of that they borrowed few things, few jar files or few stuffs from the Selenium, so they are sustaining it as an open source. Since they are having an open source as their core, they are being used a lot of places. So competitors I can tell, like say Ranorex, there is one, there is like say Test Complete, and there is also like HP's QTP is also sometimes taken into consideration. Okay, because they can also automate the mobile, but again it's a commercial tool. And Tosca, so that's also a good tool. So most of the Western people use Tosca, so that's also a good option, but again it's an license based. So these are the things they use it up mostly. Okay, so
Okay,
and
so
there
nothing
is
like Playwright. We don't have anything like Playwright in mobile
not
automation.
till, yeah, till now Microsoft has not released any competitors for it, so they are
Okay,
concentrating more into the Playwright. So that's the reason I think they didn't release it, but most probably we can expect it in the future. Yeah,
okay, okay. Thanks.
yeah, no problem.
Sir, these tools are the competitors for mobile testing, right?
Yeah, mobile testing, yes, exactly, yes.
Okay.
Since Appium is an open source, that's the only reason it's being widely used, and a lot of companies has been adapted and able to sustain it on it. Okay, even though it has a slight glitches. So nowadays, like how people are seeing it is like they use an Appium, no real devices, use a cloud platform like CTest or Browser Stack or Sauce Lab or any kind of those cloud environments in order to manage it. So they have a seamless device connection and then they work it out. Yeah, that's how they do it up.
Arvind, are we
Mhm.
using only virtual device for the Android, or we need a physical also, physical device?
It's up to you, I would tell. So if you're okay or comfortable using your virtual device, you can continue it up. So it
Yeah,
acts as a
I don't have that Android phone. That's the reason I'm asking.
no problem. You can still use your virtual device, no issues. Emulators are still capable, but I would recommend you to use bigger size RAM, okay, so that your
Hmm.
laptops are not getting impacted because if you download the SDK version, right, so it occupies at least like around 8 to 15 GB of one APK version, so it's quite heavy, I would tell. So I accept it, it's quite heavy, but that's how it is done.
So
So
most of the testing can be done with the virtual
virtual
device.
device, yes,
Okay.
exactly. So accept your SMS or email verification, okay, because that you need a real device. So we have a topic on notification where we are going to do some SMS verification. So that needs a real device, okay, because it
Uh-huh.
needs a SIM card.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's the reason. Yeah,
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Okay, so if you don't have any further questions, like just take time. So I will send on you these notes actually that we have did. So since it's like a demo session, I'll be just giving you these notes inside the
Sir, one question.
WhatsApp. Ah yes, please. Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
For this course, we need coding knowledge or how much?
Yeah, we need coding knowledge, but not that much level. So may I know the level of coding knowledge you have it actually? So are you from a automation background or a manual background or maybe a
Yes,
different background as well? So what type of background you're from?
I'm from automation, Selenium automation background.
Then I think that should be fine. Yes. The what level of Java you use it for your Selenium, the same level is required for Appium. So that should be fine. Yeah. So you know the level, right? So it's like not a completely 100% a developer role. So it's going to be
Which
like
language?
50 to.
Which language
Uh,
we are going to use, sir?
we'll be using the Java.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
We'll be using the Java. So that will be the level. So if you have basic understanding of Java and how it works, I think that should be fine. Yeah. So, and this course is also from beginner session. So whoever doesn't know the knowledge of coding, so they can also attend actually. You
And
can also
course
refer
duration,
friends. Yeah, sorry.
and also course duration for this.
Uh, yeah, actually minimum I've kept it as a 45 hours, but sometimes it extends 5 more hours. So you can keep it on the whole as a 50-hour session actually. Yeah, 50 hours can be done. Yeah.
Or in the course content, I can see BDD, and those topics are separate from this course, or is it part of Appium?
Part of the APM. So why we included that item is like say we have two frameworks available. So TestNG is one popular framework, and another popular framework like which is existing in the current scenario is like say the Cucumber. So we can't leave that alone because a lot of people are coming back and asking the Cucumber. So we have integrated with this course, and it's like a TestNG and Cucumber, both frameworks you'll be seeing it out. Yeah.
So are we going to incorporate this Appium with BDD and TestNG?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. TestNG is separate, BDD is separate. So don't get combine it actually. Both are two different frameworks.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be seeing that as well. Yeah. Two different frameworks. How does it exist? The features and all those stuffs.
So that will be a part of a design pattern.
Design pattern is different. So for design pattern, we'll be walking you through the solid principles and how can we incorporate it inside our framework. But yeah, but the framework that comes under the framework, I would tell. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if there is no more doubts, have a great weekend ahead and hope you to meet up on Monday. So let's start the session with the Monday. Yeah. So some more architecture, some more few theoretical parts and practical parts, and let's catch up again on Monday and have a great evening and great day ahead wherever you're in the world, and have a great weekend. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Yeah.